Emma.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on Gold Talks and specifically on the Gold Initiative Foundation's project.
No problem.
This is one of many, and we're very excited about it because what we're doing, and we did these workshops throughout the summer and specifically during the pandemic when Goal had to sort of shut down, we were allowing and getting the opportunity with some of you fantastic chefs in the city of Montreal to prepare some things that the public got to do at home, and it worked out really, really well. Mm-hmm. And so what we're doing while we're still in this sort of odd mix of half open, half closed, and people aren't 100% sure what's going on is we're still very excited about presenting healthy foods that can be done at home with local ingredients bought at the grocery store or at the local market, you know, nothing too complicated. And but having it presented by guys and girls like yourselves, because obviously nobody wants to see how I might cook or, you know, we want to see from the pros and the professionals. So again, thank you.
No problem.
So today, what are we going to be doing that the crew at home can sort of emulate and try and prepare as well?
So today we're going to serve a dinner that I do for my daughter pretty regularly. You know, kids love pasta.
Yes, they do.
So I usually serve her pasta, and her favorite thing to go with it is actually not tomato sauce, but pesto.
Amazing.
Which I sneak in a couple of little healthy things, like nuts are obviously very healthy, but also I cut some of the basil with spinach. So now I know that some kids don't like green food, but I kind of counter that by adding a whole bunch of cheese.
I love it. Listen to me. Our house, I grew up, first of all, with cheese on everything, so I'm totally down, and it's the same thing at our house. It's cheese on everything goes. Like you put it on everything, so I'm totally down.
Yeah.
I think
and then we're gonna do some garlic bread also, which is like a little bit junky. It's again chock full of cheese, a little bit of garlic, some parsley to get your green quota in there.
Get the green quota in. I love it.
And so we're gonna start actually with the garlic bread.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna take 2 fairly large cloves of garlic, and I use the side of my knife to smash them to get the skin off.
Right, because that's probably the most annoying part of trying to get the garlic off.
Yeah, exactly, is to get the skin
That's
off.
the trick, smashy, smashy.
Smash it with the side of your knife, and then I put it in my mortar and pestle. And I know that not everybody necessarily has a mortar and pestle. You can equally do it in a food processor.
In a food processor, okay.
Yeah, I just like the mortar and pestle because it really gets the garlic into a nice paste. For me, it's a lot, I find this a lot faster and easier. You put like a nice bunch of salt in there. It helps break down the garlic, and then you just kind of mush it as much as you can.
Yeah.
And then also in the garlic bread, like I mentioned, I like to put some parsley. So it's about a 1/4 cup of parsley. And again, it's like kind of nicely packed.
Yeah.
And I put that also in my mortar and pestle and just try and smash it as much as possible.
You could probably get the kids to get involved here too, right? Smashy, smashy.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
It works really well. Definitely with the garlic, it helps bring out some of the oils so that it like gets into a nice paste.
When it comes to pestos, are there many variations, or is it a personal thing, or is there really?
Well, I mean, yes, there's definitely, in all cooking, there's many variations on everything. Like here, I've put out a bunch of different nuts because pine nuts...
We're nutty.
We're nutty like that.
Come on.
Pine nuts are very expensive, so there's other nuts that you can use, or seeds if you prefer. Seeds are a little bit healthier than nuts, so, you know, like nuts are a bit fattier. So, you know, like I've got pistachios here, which are nice and sweet and delicious, or almonds, which are more common and easy to find. And like I said, pine nuts are pretty expensive.
Yeah.
So I try to mix it up. Walnuts in the winter are a great nut to use because they're a little bit heavier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I like to use walnuts in the winter because they're a little bit more filling, you know,
yeah,
hearty.
Yeah.
So I've got my parsley and garlic all nicely mushed up here. I'm going to take my bowl, and for the garlic butter, I'm going to use 1/4 pound.
Is this salted butter, non-salted butter?
This is non-salted butter because we've already put a bunch of salt in there.
Right.
And I always use, when I'm measuring butter, I always use the packet.
Dear Lord.
because trying to stuff butter into a cup is super annoying. So
Does every butter package have that?
yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
So this is like nicely tempered room temperature butter.
Okay.
So it's going to be very easy to mix. Nice bunch of a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese, which I have here.
Parmigiano.
And I'm going to use my whisk. And here I'm just going to take all the nice paste that I've made in my mortar and pestle. Let's get it all out there. I also like to use all the time a rubber spatula because
Why?
it really gets into the corners when you're trying to clean stuff out of a receptacle.
Yeah.
You can really get into all the corners, whereas when you use like a wooden spoon or something else, it's like not quite as
And is a
efficient.
metal spoon totally illegal in the realm of?
Not at all. Not at all. I just find it's a lot. You know, in a commercial kitchen, you are trying to not waste any money. So when you don't use like a rubber spatula to get into things, you're like
You're wasting. Yeah, totally.
So no waste. So here, I'm just going to use my whisk to kind of mush everything together, which of course is not working exactly as I would like.
It's okay.
We're going to add 1 tablespoon of mustard.
Okay, and this is Dijon or regular mustard?
This is Dijon. You can use regular, but I would use Dijon.
Okay.
Regular mustard might be a little funky.
Funky pesto. I've been there, maybe.
Well, this is just for the garlic butter for the garlic bread.
Yeah. That's
So whisk this around as much as possible. Now that things are kind of all together, we can use the rubber spatula to really cream it nicely together.
And that's the thing with cooking too, is that people, you got to get a little messy. You got to get your hands in there. You got to get.
Oh, certainly.
That's totally. I think that for some people, it's like I don't want to get dirty while I'm cooking, but it's totally the thing, right?
I'm very much of the school of
hands in. Man.
Get right in there. So
like
that's
when the kids
nice.
are painting and stuff, you got to let them get messy.
Exactly. I'm currently living with my parents during the pandemic, and my mother has a really hard time letting my 19-month-old daughter
make a mess.
I
don't think that ever goes away.
No, I don't think
so. That's cool. How is everybody doing during? It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. Definitely not. You do the best you can. You got to take it day by day.
Yeah.
But I'm very fortunate to be living with my parents currently. So my daughter gets to spend time with them. So this is focaccia that we make at Nora Gray. I like to use any kind of crusty bread, baguette, country loaf. You can use whatever bread you have on hand, really.
But the crustiness is because once you've warmed it up, it's just that's the texture that you're looking for around.
Yeah.
So like you're supercharging it versus burning the bread because it'll harden around the sides.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So and then the butter absorbs right into the bread and makes like a really nice crunch. So here I'm gonna cut about this much off, and I'm gonna cut it lengthways this way.
Amazing. That's so amazing. Yeah? That's just so beautiful. Like if you're into bread, and like seeing those holes, it's just like.
Well, so for all those sourdough makers, this is a sourdough focaccia that we make here that we serve with a hot pepper condiment. And then again, we use the rubber spatula, and I'm just nicely spreading it on the bread.
Yeah. And this is, again, everything that you're doing here is all stuff that's just, pretty much available and readily available at the grocery store, at your local market to put together.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have all of this stuff here. I did actually, on my way here for this shoot, stop off at the grocery store.
And there you go. Perfect.
And everything was there.
That's the point.
So.
And everything is there, yeah, exactly.
I was worried that I might not be able to find pine nuts, but they even had pine nuts, so.
How long would that last in the fridge? Like, let's say you did that exact thing. You cut that amount, you prepared it the same way, but let's say you do half that portion. How long is it good for? A week?
I would say 2 weeks probably.
Oh yeah, amazing.
And if you took the parsley out, it would be longer. It would be good for even longer. It's the parsley really that would be the thing that would go bad first. So now, even though there's cheese in the recipe, I still add a little bit of cheese on top.
Because without cheese, what's the
Why
point?
not? And this goes in the oven at about 425 for like 7 to 8 minutes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the bread already, again, the bread's done and ready to go.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So all you're doing is like melting the butter and crisping everything up on top.
beautiful.
If you have the convection function on your oven,
Yeah.
you could do it at 400 degrees for the same amount of time, and it just gets that crust a little bit nicer on top. But
That's the secret, is the convection.
yeah, it's a nice little.
I like that. That's very
Nice.
cool.
Lots of home ovens have it now. It's
Yeah.
just like one of those buttons you press.
Which nobody ever uses. Those
Which
buttons,
nobody
right?
ever uses,
Those
yeah,
buttons.
yeah.
I totally have. Yeah.
So we're gonna put this in the oven.
Okay.
And
Perfect.
the next thing we're gonna do is the pesto.
Okay.
And like I said earlier, you can use any kind of nuts that you want. When I use nuts, I generally always toast them, particularly if you're getting grocery store nuts. They're not the freshest.
Right.
So you want to kind of rejuvenate them a little bit. So
In the roasting, when you put them on a pan and you put them in the oven.
yeah, so that they don't taste like, because sometimes they can taste a little bit
Plastic,
sour.
yeah.
So here we're going to take a quarter of a cup of pine nuts and put it on our tray.
Okay.
So I'm doing like a pretty small amount here.
Yep.
I don't use a ton of nuts, but I do use a lot of basil but this is like good for maybe a family of 4. It's probably enough pesto
The
for a
portions
family of 4.
the portion that you're producing now with this breakdown is good for a family of 4.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, based on the amount of nuts that you're putting in, is this a very traditional? Just for curiosity on my side, is this very traditional?
This is generally a more traditional. I mean, the real Genovese has lemon zest in it, which I don't like because it ends up making the basil.
Contrast with the okay.
It ends up oxidizing it, so it turns kind of brownish. So I prefer just not to use the lemon.
Cool.
So this we're gonna put in the oven. I've already got my timer for
The bread.
so it should work out exactly right. Basil. This is gonna be like half a cup of basil. So I'm just gonna take it. I don't mind keeping the stems on there.
Well, you're blending it up,
because
right?
I'm blending it up. So it's like we say.
I love this.
Tightly
This is
packed.
so amazing, man. Just stuffing it in those cups. It's perfect. It's packed.
Yeah,
right?
it's pretty tightly
That's
packed.
your half cup. Yeah.
So that's a half a cup. And then this is how I kind of make this healthy. I am going to put in a full cup of tightly packed spinach.
So this is for people that want to get healthy, or for the parents that have kids. This is just get it in there.
Yeah.
They won't know. It's all green. There's
Yeah.
cheese. We all win.
It also kind of softens the basil.
Okay.
So that the basil isn't, because it can be pretty strong, the taste of basil, and kids' palates are pretty sensitive. So
Very sensitive.
I cut it with this so that it's not too much, So I've got my basil and spinach, and we're gonna put in about a lot of cheese, half a cup of Parmesan cheese, already grated. We're gonna use all of this, I think.
Amazing.
So we've got all of these things, and now I'm gonna add, this is about half a cup of olive oil.
Okay.
So we got all these. We're just waiting for our pine nuts, which
Yep.
should be ready in a second.
And how is everybody, while we're waiting for our pine nuts to get extra nutty, how's the staff and the crew and everybody doing? Are they excited about getting, back into it, getting the world back up and going, and your customers? This has been hard on everybody, right? So
It's definitely been hard. It's definitely, it feels like with all the rules changing every couple weeks, couple months, that we're constantly pivoting, which is a word that I have become to dislike.
Yeah, it's a big word. It's a word being used very commonly.
But with every pivot, it's like very emotionally taxing on everyone, I think. And we try as much as possible to support our staff as much as we can. We just had a 2-week break, which I think was really great for everybody to just kind of, after the Christmas rush, kind of take some time to regroup. And now we have Valentine's Day coming up, which is fun, and will be, again, another big push. So yeah, it's like, we are focusing on different things. Valentine's Day is always a big holiday, but
Sure.
this year it's like, all the holidays are a little bit more important now because we need to try and get as much
out of it as
we can.
possible.
Yeah.
And I guess, have you seen an amazing sort of reaction to that's pine nut time.
That's my timer.
Pine nut time, but you're sort of basically the patrons, the people that have been supporting you, in restaurants. That's usually how it rolls. That there's customers that constantly come in and out that are always there for you guys. Has that been something that you've seen them really step up and support?
Yes, I mean, we've had some great, our
great,
regulars have really supported us, and repeat orders of the same, like we're doing a family dinner on Sundays, which people have just kept reordering. One woman has ordered it almost every single week. It's
amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what's important when a restaurant and an establishment that's based and it's rooted in a community, and that community, they connect. There's just nothing like it, and everybody starts to support each other, and it goes way past just opening the doors and closing the doors. There's nothing like it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so we got roasted nutties here.
So we got our pine nuts.
Yep.
Now they're still hot. I don't mind just throwing them in there while they're still hot. Some people would wait until they cool, but I don't think it's that big a deal. There's not that many of them, and once it starts blending, they'll cool down. So just kind of.
And there's a bit of heat that senses anyways when the blade goes. So it's really let's not get too.
Yeah. I just kind of let it go. Oh, it would be nice if my blade was actually on.
Watch your hands. Watch your hands. We don't need that. We don't need that.
I did that once.
What?
When I was working at Liverpool House, I was grating something, and it was the top blade. And I was talking to someone, I wanted the blade to stop, and I just put my finger down. Luckily, I had really fast reflexes.
Holy shit. Did you have a little fun time?
Yeah, I mean, I chopped the very top of my finger off.
Oh my God.
So there we go, that's it. I'm gonna do it a little bit more, because I like it a little bit finer.
Yeah. There's nothing finer than eating in your diner. Do you know what that reference is? No? All right. It's a Seinfeld thing.
Ah, yes.
Okay. Now, no kitchen is complete, and obviously nobody has this at home, or only certain people, but the RoboCoupe, right? This thing is...
Well, yeah, for professional kitchens, a RoboCoupe is... It's the only thing.
It's the only thing if there's a fire that you grab and when you run out, right?
Yeah, I mean, we survived the first couple of years of Nora Gray with just your regular household KitchenAid one. And I think by the end of it, my staff was ready to kill me because they were like, we just need a real one. We just need a real, can you just splurge on it? So we did. Now, I have a little trick that I do with my pesto.
Oh, yeah?
If you make a double batch of this, which is usually what I do, I usually make it twice as large. I like to put this, half of it that I'm not going to use that night.
Yeah.
Because if you're making something...
Make enough so that you can continue to dip into it.
Yeah.
Sort of like the Sunday night prep for the week.
And when there's an emergency, all you have to do is throw, you come in late from work or whatever, and, everybody wants to eat as fast as possible.
My gosh,
Now
that
I
was
could have
good.
done that a little bit neater, but there you go.
It's okay. We talk. We're chefing, man. We're getting messy.
And I like to...
Is that for freezing purposes?
Freeze it
Flatten out?
flat so that it freezes
great.
as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, right, of course.
But also then it's not...
Not everybody has giant fridges.
Yeah.
and freezers.
So here you go. It's nice and flat.
You date it.
And I write the date.
Now, along with the RoboCoupe, you got to have Sharpies. So if you don't have a Sharpie, you're out of luck as well, right? You might as well close shop.
When people show up to work without Sharpies, I'm
You're
like,
like, "I
what are
gotta
you
go."
doing? What are you doing? However, I'm usually borrowing their Sharpies. So.
Of course.
So that's it. So I like to freeze half of it, and then I use it straight out of the freezer. I don't even defrost it. I put the frozen pesto, I break it up into little pieces, and I put it straight into the hot pasta. That's perfect.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to use like a pasta that we're serving at the moment called garganelli, which looks like a penne, but it's hand rolled. So you cut a little square and then you roll it
up, yeah. And for people that are not
hand rolling their pasta, this is my favorite pasta that I'm using right now for Rose, for my daughter. It's whole wheat, which I know a lot of people.
We're all about whole wheat. No. It's
it doesn't taste any different to me. Maybe it's a little bit tougher, but like not that much at all. I mean, you just cook it a little bit longer. But this is the one I've been using for Rose. She absolutely loves it. I don't really taste that much of a difference between regular pasta and this. Yeah. Again, it's just to get that extra little bit of nutrients in.
Yeah. For anybody, it's not just for kids.
Yeah, not just for kids, for anybody.
Right?
I mean, it's funny, when I make pasta, I make this for her, and because I'm living with my parents, I have to make the other one for my parents.
Because they're like, hey, you're over here, you got to give us the hand-rolled stuff?
I mean...
I'm joking, I know. Oh, you're talking about like the other type.
Regular semolina pasta, they won't
the
eat
whole
that
wheat.
Stuff, no.
Your parents?
Yeah.
In 2021, with all of this crap going on?
It's really crazy.
You would think that like this is the thing, right? You're like, yeah, okay, I'll eat a little healthier. All right, that's cool.
No.
That's all right.
But, they're traditionalists, so,
Same with my parents, same thing. They've been eating the same thing for years, it's just not going to break it. Are you excited for the summer to come around finally? Get a little warmth, get some people outside sipping on...
Well, yeah, I mean, because of the pandemic, we started a terrace in the front of Nora Gray, which we'd never done before. It was always a debate.
It was a debate.
Should we or shouldn't we? It's a busy street.
Yeah.
It's not quite like Burgundy Lion where, the traffic slows down. The traffic is really fast here. And we thought it just wouldn't really be a very pleasant experience.
Huh.
But...
Forget it. The moment you can be outside, you'll take it basically anywhere. If you put me on top of a moving truck and you can serve me some pizza, we're good. So this whole idea of, the rinsing of the pasta and then putting it back in the pan and all that, is that like a zero go? Is that a...
Yeah, that's a funny thing, which...
People do it, and this is why I'm asking.
Yes, and people do it. Less so now. I think more people understand a little bit better that to help make a sauce, you actually want the starch from the pasta. So if you use a little bit of the pasta water, it helps because the starch will make it a little bit thicker and a little bit nicer.
Right.
So you usually use that. I add a little bit of pasta water and a little bit of butter because
hey, you're not adding butter.
I mean, my training is classically French, so there we go.
Watch out, we get whipped up.
And I like my pesto quite juicy, so I added a little bit of water also.
Again, and then when it comes to this, because I know that there's when it gets into cooking, people get very traditional, people get very excited about everything, and there's very if you don't do it this way, you're not doing it right. Is there the consistency of the pesto on the this is a serious question. Is the consistency on the pasta, and the pesto, is there a thing? Like, does it need to be extra thick and sort of hard to turn around? Like, because you're saying you like yours a little more liquidy, a little juicier, right? That's
my personal preference.
That's a preference? That's all it is?
That's my personal preference. It is not necessarily what is traditional. But... I don't know. This is how I like. Cool. This is how I like to eat it.
It's a question because, again, this is one of the things that part of this thing too is just talking about, everyday stuff and stuff that you've heard, you've seen. People are learning to do different things. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff here that I'm 100% we're going to take home and try and do. And then my wife's gonna, say, "Are you kidding?" She whips up some just amazing stuff at
That's
home.
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you can add anything to this also, which, usually I always have a little bit of steamed broccoli in the fridge for my daughter. I'm talking about all these green vegetables. She's a bit weird. She loves green vegetables.
Because of the color,
Yeah, she'll just go
Forget it on the
anything
carrots?
green. She'll just go for it.
Cool.
So I always put in a little bit of steamed
Like just
broccoli
on- yeah.
florets, or if I have cauliflower, I kind of mush it up and put that in there too. Makes it a little bit
green,
creamier.
but also in green too, so she wouldn't
Yeah.
you wouldn't see the white. The
Yeah.
white
Yeah,
cauliflower.
exactly.
That's so cool. Sneaky.
makes it a little bit creamier. Also, I get those extra nutrients in there. I really try to sneak things in as much as I can.
Amazing. It's it. You know what? And even for adults, it's not just a kids thing. A lot of times, there's a lot of people that just aren't down with certain veg. If they whip it up in a certain way, or they kind of psychologically sort of hides out, it's good to go.
Yeah.
And how is the bread doing in the?
Good question.
A good question. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Look at this. This is what we're talking about. Look at this.
So here we go.
Well done, chef. Well done.
We got this one, and
So
we're
amazing.
just gonna finish.
Is it
this.
weird that my favorite part, or one of my favorite things, is burnt cheese?
No, I mean it's delicious.
Right? Like scraping burnt
Yeah.
cheese off of things and snacking on it.
Yeah.
Is that not freaky? Is that
It's
that okay?
definitely
That's
not freaky.
Not freaky. All right.
Yeah.
This looks beautiful. Well,
No, there we go.
now if anybody is not down with this, they got a problem. That's what I think.
Now
That's my
we're
personal
gonna-
opinion.
Cut this up into nice little strips. If you wanted to go gluten-free, I think you could take this butter and toss cauliflower, toss cauliflower in it and then bake it, or slather it on a whole cauliflower and roast it like that.
What? Amazing. Now you're talking
Yeah,
business.
I just
This is
made my mouth
amazing.
water.
You just made your mouth water. Amazing. So this is fantastic. So listen, thank you very much. And, everybody's hoping for everybody to get, out of this thing and get out okay. And it's good to hear the community's backing you up. And it's good to see you guys are, working hard with your staff. And thank you for this. And we hope that
No
everybody
problem.
enjoys it and prepares it at home. And obviously, if everybody tries this out and likes the ingredients and the recipe and tries it, let you know. Tell Nora Gray, let Emma know about it, and we'll put up all the information. We're going to put up the ingredients and sort of how that's done online when this goes out. And thank you so much for this. And
No
be
problem.
safe. Yeah.
Thank
We'll do a
you.
little elbow action.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now
Cool.
take a bite.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna take a bite. I'm allowed to take a bite.
Oh yeah.
And then. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Amazing. Thank you.
No problem.